Hey guys, how you doing? It's Mike G here with another episode of Mornings with Mike. Good morning to you. This is your 5-minute dose of motivation and accountability for the day. Super excited you guys are here, and let's get started. Awesome topic today we're going to discuss, and today's topic is all about bridging the gap between where you are now, the life you're living now, and the life you want to be living. And let me elaborate on that a little bit more. You know, when it comes to health, happiness, fulfillment, having more of the things we want to have, there's oftentimes a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And literally, more often than not, the reason that gap is there is this. There's usually a couple of things that go into that, but if we're going to keep a couple of kind of simple here, the reason that gap is there is because of limiting beliefs, which we've talked about in the past, limiting beliefs that keeps that gap there, that says, hey, here's where I live today. And I don't mean physically, I mean just overall from a life perspective, physically, personally, financially, from a social perspective, economic perspective, whatever, everything about it. The life you live today, career, your body, your relationships, your money, all of that. Where you are today and where you'd like to be. Perhaps, out of debt, perhaps, 30 pounds lighter, perhaps more active, running more, perhaps a better relationship with your friends, family, spouse. Where you are today versus where you want to be. And there's usually that gap there. And the gap is the reason that gap is there is because of limiting beliefs, things that we think, oh, well, I can't, or I'm not good enough, or my partner won't like that, or I can't do that, I'm not good enough to have that relationship, or I'll never be able to get out of this hole of this debt that I'm in. And the reason that gap is there is because these limiting beliefs. Well, how do we bridge that gap, right? Where we are and where we want to be. Like, how do we bridge that gap? And it really starts by thinking about, and actually, before I even provide that, let me share a quick story with you guys, is in the morning, right? We're talking about 15, 16 years ago. I used to get up really early, like 4 o'clock in the morning to go train clients. I used to personally train clients, personal training. And I used to have to get up so early to go train my first client at 5 a.m. And then literally I'd have a full schedule from 5 to like 3 in the afternoon. And it was like one after the other. And while I was doing awesome and business was great and I was making great money, earlier in my career, there was still that gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. And I didn't realize, like, well, how do I change that? How do I bridge that gap? Like, I didn't want to be working that early, I didn't want to, or it wasn't so much working that early. It's like I didn't want to feel as lousy as I did. I felt like even though I was successfully training clients and I had a good, book of business, I just didn't feel good about it. And I was like, how can I bridge the gap between where I am today and where I want to be, meaning like happy about my career, happy about what I'm doing, happy about the fact that I'm seeing a ton of clients, happy about the fact that I'm making good money. And the way that I bridge that gap, I started thinking like, well, what's the things that are keeping me from feeling that way? This is how I'm feeling today. I'm feeling shitty, lousy because I have to get up. Like, what's my life become? I'm addicted to my job. I have to do all these things here to have this over here. And I came to realize that it was like the way I bridged the gap, the way I could bridge that gap between how I was feeling and how I wanted to feel was literally just changing kind of like what I thought. For example, I used to think that, hey, I have to get up this early. I have to get up because I have to pay the bills. I have to get up because these are the clients. They're expecting me. I have to get up because the job expects this of me. It was all these I have to. And literally the way it started working for me, the way I bridged that gap between feeling the way I was feeling and the way I wanted to feel, was I literally changed my perspective from I had to like, look, I get to do this. And the fact that I get to do this now, look at what it's given me. So the fact that I get up early, yes, I get up early, but look, it's allowing me to interact with clients. It's allowing me to serve, to make a difference in their lives. It gives me this feeling of fulfillment by providing them this life that they want for themselves, more health, more happiness, more fulfillment for themselves, and therefore it's given me that in return. Especially the happiness and the health perspective, the happiness and fulfillment perspective in return. So as soon as I changed that, man, I'm telling you, it almost feels like it was overnight, and it really wasn't. It probably took me weeks, if not months, to get there. But it literally felt like overnight, that perspective, that change of perspective, bridged that gap substantially from where I was to where I wanted to be, from feeling good about what I was doing. So what's that thing for you? What's that thing that you can do or you can focus on and do or change that will begin to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be? Give that some thought. Just give that some thought. That's all we ask that you do at this point. Give that some thought and stop making that change sooner than later. That's today's message, guys. Best of luck. Until next time, cheers.